week. Sorry, I'll try better next time. All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, April 28th, 2025 regular meeting of the Monroe Local Schools Board of Education. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Carpenter?
Present.
Mr. Fulham?
Present.
Mr. Grant?
Present.
Mrs. Hagedorn? Present. Mr. Leeds?
Present.
Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Fulham. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn? Aye. Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Section 2, Board Liaison and Committee Updates. Item 2.1, Legislative. Mr. Leeds.
I'm referring to Mr. Buskirk since he talked to Mr. Lang and has information from Mr. Hall.
So the biggest thing in Columbus right now is obviously the biannual budget that they are working on. It's been, governor released it, then it made it through the House. They've also introduced a number of, I think it was like 45 bills about, property tax reform, and almost all of them negatively affect public schools. The good news is, and the biggest item on the budget is the cap for cash reserves for school districts, where it would limit the amount of carryover. And they've set the number so low that it's a clear indication they have no idea how public school finances work. And the good thing about that is Amy and I met with Senator Lang on Friday. He was in complete agreement that it penalizes school districts for being fiscally responsible. There's no districts out there are just hoarding money. If they have a larger cash balance, it's because they're saving up for things. And just as we promised the community, we would use our cash reserve to not increase their taxes with the new bond issue, as well as providing upgrades on the new high school to accommodate the growth. So again, it sounded very promising. He was very supportive. We shared a few things with him that I think were a surprise to him about school funding and private schools, and he's actually going to work on introduce a new bill to address some of the issues that we're having in our district with out-of-district placements in our district that it costs us a lot of money, and so we'll see where that goes. But somebody described it to me as we're in the middle of the drive and we're only at the 40-yard line, so we've got a ways to go. Hopefully they are listening to us, and we'll get through this, and everything will come out good for Monroe and all the public schools. So.
Yeah, we shouldn't be penalized because we are fiscally responsible on our money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ridiculous. And we're not the only district that's that way. Not knocking anybody else, but we've done a yeoman's job in making sure that we have a pile of cash that we can use for this new building. So,
absolutely.
And the driveway and things of that nature. So,
Yep.
but I think that, at least in talking to other people, that they're getting the word at the State House that people are unhappy.
Yes.
And that they better make some changes.
Yeah.
So,
I consistently heard that as well.
yeah.
Or they could be out of a job.
Well, to paraphrase what U.S. Senator John Kennedy said, that the legislatures in both the Washington and the state are so stupid, that's the reason that there is how to use information on a shampoo bottle.
Okay.
It's not lying.
All right.
On that
All right, anything else, Mr. Leeds?
No, sir. That's
All
enough.
right, thank you, Mr. Leeds. Item 2.2, Butler Tech, Mr. Guido.
I don't know how I follow that.
You can. You can.
You're not going to.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, members of the board. I don't really have a big presentation. I will share that I did go to the showcases that we had last week, and it was amazing. I went to the Natural Science Center. It just is amazing still to see people walking through that building and see all the good things that they're doing there. So if you haven't been there in a while, go back over there. Now it looks and feels like a school and smells like a natural science center. So good time. A reminder that our all boards meeting is this Thursday. The showcases start at 3 o'clock and the presentation starts around 7. So we'll eat dinner somewhere in between there. I'm not 100% sure where, but we have a record going here, so try and do our best to attend. I'd love to have everybody there. Graduation is May 20th at Centos Center at 7 o'clock. So if you want to let me know for sure if you're going to go. They've changed the parking, and so you have to go into designated areas, and I know that there are a very limited supply of those parking passes. If somebody wants to ride with me, I'm more than willing to take somebody down there, but if anybody wants to go, just give me a call. Did an AM Hub tour with Representative Hall and a couple other city commissioners. Cindy Carpenter was there at the Hamilton AM Hub building. Also did an aviation building tour. That was really neat. The walls had just went up. They put all the walls up in, I think, 3 days. So it was amazing to see how fast that went up. So it kind of starting to feel like a building, and then some of the structural steel is going on. I didn't get too close to the bricks because I remember what happened to this building, and a storm was coming in, so it was a little scary. The end of the year activity is happening right now, as you could imagine. All the CTSO final regional and state events are ending, and I think they've all entered into the national competition, so we have a good supply of students that are going to some of that. I did want to share, it's not the board stance, but I will let you know that we at Butler Tech are following the legislation that you guys were just referring to in the legislative report. I am still yet to see one school board member support property taxes being used to fund our schools. So if they really want to enact change, they really need to start acting on that. So I see a lot of shell games happening, and a lot of things happening. They'll tell us one thing, and then they'll tell somebody else down the street something different. So again, if they really want to reform school funding, stop using property taxes to fund it, and the argument goes away. My last thing is to wish Mr. President happy birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Gatto.
How old are you again?
Old enough.
Old enough.
Yep.
Any questions? Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving along to item 2.3, student achievement. Mrs. Hagedorn.
So for student achievement, I want to start off with mentioning the Rain Barrel Art Project. So the City of Monroe is part of a collaboration whose objective is to protect and educate the community about saving our local waterways. Each year, the collaborative hosts a Rain Barrel Art Project, and 40 designs are selected from local artists. These barrels are then auctioned off, and proceeds go to the Cincinnati Zoo and Monroe's collaborative SaveLocalWaters.org. If we could show one of those pictures. So the Rain Barrel Art Project is designed to educate people on environmental issues like stormwater runoff, stormwater runoff, watersheds, and water conservation. Rain barrels continue to grow in popularity across the country. However, one of the biggest drawbacks is their dull appearance. The Rain Barrel Art Project seeks to produce beautiful artistic rain barrels that have unique painted details that will make them more desirable and naturally promote their use. So Monroe senior Corinne Ullman sent in a submission, and her art was chosen as one of the 40. She has painted a rain barrel that would be auctioned off, and the money raised will go to the Cincinnati Zoo. And her design title was Real versus Imagination. And so that's an example of her design that she did. So I'd like to say congratulations to Corinne.
That's nice.
Very good.
Yeah, she did good. There were two. Did we show both?
Yep.
Okay. And
Share
there's
the other one up while you're.
the other one?
Yep.
Okay. It's like one of those things. Okay. So next, I'd like to introduce Student Council members Sam Coslin and Tim Hudson, who are going to give us an update on what Student Council has done this year.
You got these? I got these. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you so much for having us. We're going to be giving you guys a quick rundown on what we, the Student Council, do. I am Tim Hudson, class president for the seniors, class of 2025,
And my name is Samuel McCausland, Vice President.
Excellent, all right. So starting off with a bang, homecoming is probably the biggest thing that we do. Homecoming parade, Mrs. Sodi and all of us are the ones flagging people into the parking lots, directing people, making sure the court has their vehicles and are right on their way. Purchasing decorations with our council budget. Every year it's always fun to break out all the catalogs and order the decorations and then get things set up on the day of the dance. And then for the homecoming game, we're the ones in that giant kind of cluster off to the side of the field that run out and then announce who won King and Queen.
All right, and then one of our next biggest things we do in the year is the blood drive. So this allows Monroe students over the age of 16 to donate a pint of blood. We do it through a company called Versity, and we do one each semester, so that's twice a year. And this year alone, for the senior class, 34 students are receiving the red cord, which means they've donated 3 times or more. And so for student council in the blood drive, we really focus on the care of the students. So once they've donated, we direct them to the recovery station where we'll give them snacks and juice to help them boost their blood sugar that they just donated. And we also keep track of their time, so they have to be there for 15 minutes to make sure that they are ready to go back to class. If any of the students need to use the restroom, we actually walk with them to the restroom to make sure that just in case something happens, there's someone there that is able to help. And then when it is time to go back to class, we actually carry their book bag as well, because advised by the healthcare workers there, we're not allowed to lift any heavy objects after donating that much amounts of blood. So overall, student council is just there to help the students after they donate in the school.
Next item, we're very involved in staff appreciation. So first, the Sunshine Cart. Throughout the day, we have a cart full of snacks and drinks that we take around to all the classrooms to give to all the teachers. It's a fun way to brighten up the staff day and to get out of classes we don't like. And if a teacher is involved at a school event like the homecoming dance, we write letters to them. It's simple, but I hope it get a nice keepsake for them after these events. Spirit Week, we come up with the ideas for what to wear and negotiate with Mr. Prohaska with ideas. Holiday Week, PJ Day, staple, dress your favorite movie character, those type of things. And Halloween, we try to focus on student body input and ideas, posting questions on our social media platforms, and having that whole week be a week of fun.
All right, and then lastly, volunteer hours is one of the main focuses of student council. And so we do a lot of volunteering. We volunteer at concession stands and track meets and things like that. But one of our main volunteer opportunities is Food from the Heart, which helps get food to Monroe families over extended periods of time, but especially during the winter break, which is about 2 to 2.5 weeks. A lot of these families benefit from the free and reduced lunch program. So for about 2 weeks during the break, they're not able to buy those 2 meals each day. So this program is great because it's a district-wide effort. The elementary does a great job with collecting cans of food, and then high school student council will help raise money to buy the perishables like meat and dairy products. And then also during Hornet time, we can go around and collect money and remind students of such an important cause so that these families can have proper nutrition over the break, but also enjoy time with their family and time off of school. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much. That is all for student achievement. Sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. All right, moving along to Section 3, Communications. 3.1, Comments from the Public. Seeing none, we will move along to item 3.2, Preschool Curriculum Adoption Presentation. Mrs. Stratton.
This will be quick. So we have, or we'd like to adopt a new curriculum. We met last school year and started looking at curriculums, but we stopped. You can go to the next slide. We stopped reviewing them because the Department of Children and Youth and the Department of Education and Workforce released information last year that the curriculum you choose has to be science of reading, has to align to the early learning standards, and it has to be on the Step Up to Quality list. So that information was not released. So we halted our meetings last school year and started up again this school year, but then information wasn't released until January of this year. So really, we just kind of talked about the process. We didn't do anything prior to January. The team determined we would only choose programs that were on all three lists because that would allow us to keep our Step Up to Quality gold rating and obviously follow the state guidelines. So that was kind of our timeline. Again, the team did go to a Hamilton County Regional Early Childhood Literacy Forum and reviewed some curriculum, even though we didn't know which ones would be on all three lists. We went ahead and looked at them and got some samples. Each month, the preschool team meets. We talked about what we were looking for in a curriculum, and each month just kind of over the, how we would go about choosing them. The list, like I said, was released this January. So February, the team met and determined we would look at Frog Street, which we had seen and spoke with a representative at the Literacy Forum. Scholastic Pre-K on My Way, which we saw again at the Literacy Forum, and Joyful Discoveries. Joyful Discoveries is a local curriculum developed by Mount St. Joe, and they were not at the Literacy Forum, but one of our teachers has been trained by them, and had a connection there, so we did look at that curriculum as well. We had a final team meeting on Friday. We didn't do a lot of review because if they were on the list, then that met the early learning standards, which is a requirement. And if they were on the list for science of reading, they had the literacy components and then Step Up to Quality. So we had a final meeting in March. The team consensus was that they wanted to go with Joyful Discoveries because it was obviously on all three lists. It is also local, so the professional development that would be provided would be in person, and we can have pretty extensive support for them because it's from Mount St. Joe. So the program is a 12 theme-based units. It's whole group, small group, and centers-based instruction. There's 2 additional small groups that are not theme-based, which are alphabetics and telling terrific tales. And then it even has 2 intervention pieces, basic concepts, and playful letter interventions. Its academic instructional time is typically 60 to 90 minutes. So the reason why we chose this, we're a half-day program, so we don't have a lot of time, and we do feel we are required to give a snack, which we have to do hand washing, have the snack, and clean up. That's part of their, program. And obviously playtime. So that is why we chose Project Ready, because there was a lot of flexibility. The pre-bought curriculums from like Scholastic and Frog Street have a lot of components and are a lot of time. And the whole reason, I guess I should have put this in the slideshow, the whole reason we were looking at curriculums is because our current curriculum, though it is on the list, it's very difficult to implement in the structure of our preschool settings due to the time and the structure of it. So we really weren't implementing it, just to be quite frank. And to keep our Gold Star Step Up to Quality, it's no longer that you're reporting, yes, I'm using this curriculum. They observe the classrooms to ensure you're implementing it with fidelity. So when Step Up to Quality comes in to review our preschool classrooms, we wouldn't have been able to get gold because we can't implement it with fidelity. So that was really the reason why we kind of moved to Joyful Discoveries, because the time frame and the components are easy to fit in the program we have now. We're a play-based preschool. This program fits perfectly with what we're currently doing. So cost. You can go next slide. So the program costs, we have 3 classrooms currently, actually 6 sections, 3 full classrooms. The units, Mount St. Joe's did bind them, and this is like their 4th or 5th year utilizing the program, or when they first created it. It is downloadable, but they have created spiral-bound books that have been very beneficial and more effective for the teachers. It's just easier for them, and they're actually updating those for next year. So that's the cost of the units, the teacher manuals. It's obviously a rich literacy program, so those are the books that we'd have to purchase for each of the units. And then there's 2 units that alternate in year 2, so those are the additional costs. So the complete cost for all 3 classrooms is about $14,593. The next slide will tell about PD, and we can opt in and out of things. I put the highest cost PD. We do want to do a spring session. That's a half-day, $900. It's just the overview and the first 2 sections of the program, so that when we start in the fall, the teachers have a good understanding of how to kick off the year. We like to do all the other PD sessions, which is $3,600, and then they really set, which I think it sounds great, coaching. They can also provide coaching. They said that it'd be great to come at the beginning of the year because they can model the different components for the teachers. So we're starting it off the way it should be implemented. But that is $900 this year and $6,300 next year. And like I said, that's the highest cost. That's giving teachers the most coaching and all the PD. We can probably, once we do our overview and look at next year, about how much we really need. So I put the highest cost, Amy. And so an overview of the cost, I think it's, next slide. Materials are, for this year, I'd pay for the PD, and I have $5,865 for the curriculum units, and that would be paid for by my preschool federal grant, because that was allocated for supplies and hasn't been used, and that has to be used for supplies. The PD would come from the general fund, and I already allocated money for PD, and the rest for my funds, my general fund supply money, which I have that amount. So that would be for this school year. Next school year would be the PD day, the additional PD days, and the rest of the books and materials for the rest of the units, which would be about $15,028. Again, I would allot at least $5,000 in the preschool federal grant. I don't get those allocations until July, so we've never not had at least $5,000. It usually ranges between 10 and 15, thereabouts, so we should still get that. And then preschool PD fund would be increased to cover that, and then general fund supplies, I usually have plenty of that. So the total cost for the whole program would be $21,793. Have any questions?
I do. Is this for, I see 2 years, this school year and the next school year?
This school year, we would just purchase the teachers' manuals and do a half-day PD for the preschool teachers,
Okay.
so that they're ready in
So
the fall.
to prepare for next year, okay.
And then that way they can take their manuals home for the summer to
Okay.
gear up as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking it's the end of the year.
Yeah. That's the only thing we're using for this year, is
Okay.
just to help them prepare. Great question. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Stratton. All right, moving along to item 3.3, Superintendent Update. Mr. Buskirk.
Thank you, Mr. Carpenter. I will be brief tonight. I've got a few quick things. This time of year, obviously, a lot going on. A lot of OST state testing going on in all the buildings. I know that basically 3rd grade on up, the schedule has been out, and kids are working hard, teachers are working hard. I think someone told me, I don't know if that counts today, is it 18 days left with kids, maybe now 17? So that 18. So it is right around the corner. Graduation is coming up in a couple weeks, so another exciting, this time of year, it always goes so fast, and we'll be on that stage here before we know it for that. At this time, I want Mr. Ward to come forward. He has a special recognition this evening.
Come on up.
members of the board, I appreciate you giving me time to do this today. I know it's not normal to recognize PTO members when they leave, but this is a unique situation. Becky Taylor and Kevin Taylor have no relation. Have spent no problem. Have spent combined 22 years on the PTO. Becky joined in 2018 and spent 7 years. Even after her kids gone, she stayed on, mostly at my request, even though she does like it. Kevin started in 2009 and has spent 15 years on the PTO and technically retired last year, but even came back this year to still do the dodgeball tournament. So just a few things that they have done. They started the fun run back in 2019. And just through that one fundraiser over the years, they have raised about $175,000 for Monroe Elementary. Using that money, they have bought playground equipment. The Monroe Land Lab, the pond, they made that accessible to all our students. The paint on the blacktop at the playground, they did that. And then multiple Clever Touch monitors over the last couple of years they put into teachers' classrooms. The events that they've done, the father-daughter dance every year is a huge hit. The holiday shop around Christmas time started the mother-son dodgeball tournament, which I know we may have had a couple issues with that, but it is still my favorite event that we do. It's the kids love it, and so do the moms. They volunteer. They get volunteers for book fair, for pictures, teachers, staff appreciation, and gifts. And then, sorry, I'm a crier, so I practiced. I thought I'd get through it, but obviously not. Personally, for me, I came down to the elementary during COVID, fall of 2020, and as a high school guy, high school teacher, high school junior high administrator, I didn't know what I was doing when I got to the elementary, and then COVID on top of that, and then I had to learn, how to deal with the elementary PTO, which I knew was way different than anything I've ever dealt with before. But working with these two, they welcomed me. They were so easy to work with, and we got along so well that even during COVID, when we basically had no volunteers, it was the three of us at meetings all the time. It was a joy to work with them, even with Becky. We got along so well. I appreciate everything they did. I never had to worry about anything. I knew it would always get done. They were committed to the kids, committed to the teachers. We are a better school because of them. So I really appreciate everything that they've done. Thank you again for letting me present this today. The current PTO got you guys both a little gift. So we really appreciate everything you've done. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, we're gonna get a
Can we get a picture? Taylor's.
You tell us when you're ready.
All right, everybody ready? All right, first one's here, and then just kind of look around, but keep smiling. All right, 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, hold that. All right, thank you.
Thank you both.
As they're walking out, I do want to add, it has become increasingly more difficult to get parent volunteers, just with people's schedules and everything, and they have done a phenomenal job running these events. I've worked with both of them on high school, with having high school kids myself, high school booster events. I know Kevin was a big part of the bingo night, and we were on that bingo committee together, so just the volunteer hours that they put in for our staff is tremendous, so it's greatly, greatly appreciated, so I just wanted to add that. And then my final thing today is that some exciting news. We had, it's blurring together, was that last week? Last week. So we had our CMR final interviews for the construction of the new high school. It was choosing the construction company that would work with Fanning Howie. Going into it, we had a short list of 3 firms that interviewed, working with Holly and Mike from MCS and Associates. You know, they talked to us ahead of time that all 3 companies were more than capable, and they've had experience working with all of them. But through the selection committee, after the interviews, through the selection, which there's a number of factors. Robertson Construction out of Columbus was the firm that was selected. We met, was that just Friday, Jeremy, that we met for that, or Thursday for the, we had the architect kickoff meeting, and they came down to meet with that. We met beforehand. They were part of that meeting. It was a great meeting. I'm excited about what they can bring to Monroe High School. And Jeremy Johnson, I believe your title is Vice President?
They call me a lot of things.
He is here tonight, and he wanted to just kind of introduce himself, talk a little bit about Robertson and the high school project.
Well, thank you for having us. It's really a privilege to be here. Just seeing what you have going on in your community just really makes us even want to be here more. And so that's part of who we are. I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you for having us here, and thank you for the opportunity to work on your high school. I get to come talk to you, but I have a whole team of people that actually do all the work, and they're very excited to get started. I'll just share very briefly a little about Robertson. Don't want to take up a lot of your time, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I've been there 21 years. We're 28 years old. We have about 200 employees. Roughly 140 of them come to work every day, men and women with their tools on, so we actually do perform work as well as manage work. We do a lot of school work. That's not the only thing we do, but we've completed over 109 school buildings for 42 different districts. So know a little bit about building schools, not about educating, but we've had a lot of good experiences. One of the interesting things that made the project interesting to us, we've done 25 projects with your design team, so we're very familiar with them, and they've been we have a good professional relationship and understand one another and complement one another well. We've done a number of projects in the area, 2 schools for Talawanda. We've done work at both Lebanon and Warren Correctional. We did 2 industrial expansions for Magnode in Trenton, which is now called Shape. So a number of different projects, not all schools, but just wanted to share a little bit about who we are and a little bit about us. And again, glad to answer any further questions you have. We're very excited to get started on your project and get moving.
Excellent. Thank you.
Well, and I won't ask you how old you are, but happy birthday.
Oh, appreciate it.
He's not that old. He's the youngest one on the board.
About like, what, 6 months or something?
Something like
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to seeing you often.
Yep.
Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
it.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, and that's all I have for my section.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Buskirk. And moving along to Section 4, Treasurer's Consent Agenda. Mrs. Moore,
I recommend the treasurer's consent agenda be approved as presented.
may I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
We have the approval of the minutes from the last meeting on March 24th. I have the treasurer's financial report. There's a couple of things included in that one that are a little bit different this time. This is a page from the monthly financials that you guys receive. And just to note, we did finally get our tax settlements that we were waiting for that should have come in March. We got them in April, and we were pleasantly surprised. The TIF revenue came in much higher than expected, so we are looking to gain an extra potentially $1 million in the TIF revenue this year. I am pleased with that. We had a couple of properties actually come off of abatement and directly went into a TIF. So estimating that was a little bit hard on the value, what that value was going to look like coming off of the abatement. but it was favorable. Now we wait to see if they remain here and/or do not apply for a Board of Tax reduction. So, but we have it for now, and that's good to know. Outside of that, we are tracking well against the November forecast. The May forecast will be presented next meeting for the update. As far as wrapping up our year end this year, we have had some things come up that we may have to include, so our expenditures are likely going to go up, so we'll spend some of that $1 million. We have about 750 Chromebooks that need to be purchased, and with the expectation of potential supply chain issues with some of the things that are going on, we may have to get them ordered within the next month or so. I have a letter of intent that we need to look at, and we'll nail down some details and get that signed and get those ordered. That's going to be a substantial expense in this year rather than next year, about $315,000. Outside of that, there are some other projects, especially some summer projects, that we maybe want to get started and get the ball rolling. So, you can next page. So this is just a quick analysis of the 30% rule as we talk about the state budget. And just to know, this is the best case scenario. There is a worst case scenario or worse than this. Basically, can you scroll up just a hair to the list there? As Robert mentioned, we had already put in our forecast several transfers to support, to give general fund support to projects, the gym infill, the driveway project, and then most importantly, the promise we made to our taxpayers to keep the bond rate, the same when the old bond falls off, the new bond comes on. So we're not collecting on that new debt until 2029. And, that was a promise for all of those projects of $12 million in the current forecast over the 5 years. So if they look at reducing our reserves that we have, that significantly impacts, what we have available to fund these projects. I believe that we can do these things regardless because they were already in the forecast. There are still a lot of questions. We don't even know how they're going to calculate it, which numbers they're going to use. When you say 30% of expenditures, there's about 3 different numbers that could mean, like which expenditures. Same with the cash balance. This is best case scenario because it's based on a cash balance where I already had some reserves coming out of it. So if they use that, we would need to cut, according to these projections, over $17 million out of our balance. So they would reduce taxes until, we got the balance down, by another $17 million. There's so many questions. And then, okay, well, once we get that, if they reduce the taxes, they get the balance down, then all of a sudden the taxes will go right back up at the full values. There's just a lot of unknown things. It's not our favorite, and as Mr. Buskirk said, we met with Mr. Lang, and he's very supportive of getting rid of that part of the budget. So hopefully we will not have to worry about this. But it is what it is, and sadly, it could actually be worse than that. And just a quick, on the next slide, this is just something, the other part of the budget bill is talking about like the actual formula itself, which technically won't really exist the way they've written it. They kind of dismantle the formula and put in a temporary funding formula. But this is just a comparison of our base cost funding and the base cost, the calculated funding between FY24 and FY25, it's already lower. And then as far as this portion that the state kicks in, you can see that it dropped between 24 and 25, and it'll continue to drop because as our local capacity, which is our ability to fund ourselves, as that goes up, the state fund keeps coming down. That's how the formula works. But this is just kind of an example of the funding how it's changed within the last 2 years. And they are talking about not increasing our base cost funding to meet inflation. So again, it may stay the same, but it's not likely to go up. So, and then at the bottom there's just some information on special ed spending. This is one of the things that we have been talking about in our groups is, the category funding and getting increases in that, because all of us are experiencing increased special ed needs for special services and tuition-based services and behavioral services. And those costs continue to rise very quickly, but the state reimbursement for those is not rising very quickly. And so there's a huge disparity on what we spend versus, the assistance that we get from the state. That is all. I don't want to.
So we should be getting $8,000 from the state, but we actually only get $3,800 from the state.
Should is relative, I suppose. But yes,
That would be
that's,
100% funded. We should be getting $8,100 from
if
the
we
state.
were 100% funded, they would give us that. But the reality is, those are formula costs, so that's not the actual cost.
This is higher than that.
Yeah, our actual cost
what,
is
12,000?
around 12,000.
Yeah,
So we're.
Yeah,
it's
so
still
it's already
4,000 off.
short in that respect. And then, of course, there are several formulas just to get to the should be 100%. It's never really 100%, but yeah.
And nobody gets that 8,000 except for the vouchers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
So
at their
that
max
was my
this
next
year.
question.
They get $8,408 per voucher. Up to that, they do it based on the need of the person applying, but they will give a maximum of $8,408, and we provide the transportation.
But they take the full 8 from us, right?
Well, when they change the formula, it doesn't come back out. It's completely separate.
Never given.
Exactly.
But
Yep,
we cover the transportation.
we do.
So we
cover the
incur
transportation.
costs.
We're actually losing money.
Yeah, for every,
Sure.
On top of
Voucher.
losing money. On
Yes.
top of losing money.
more money.
yeah, because we've already been hit for the last 8+ years on being capped, so.
If we got to hide $17 million, we got to get a bigger can to put in the backyard, don't we?
You're making pretty with sharks on them. Yeah, this is a big problem. This is a big problem. This is not a Monroe problem, though that's what we're focused on. This is concerning, and it should be this is something that the community should be focusing on. This is the stuff that I should see in Facebook groups. This is the stuff that you should be talking about with your neighbors. Because at the end of the day, if we can't get our representatives to do what they said they were going to do, let alone what we think they should do, we're going to continue to bury ourselves, and we're going to need more facilities for a growing community at a higher rate than it's ever been. And I think that this is something that, I know I've talked to our representatives a little bit about it. I wish I talked a little bit more. We went to Columbus. I'm glad to hear that there was a good conversation with Mr. Lang. I think that it falls on deaf ears more times than not. This is what we need to be focused on, because this is how we get our kids to where they need to get. This is how we get the resources that we need for our kids who are underperforming. This is how we get the resources we need for our kids who are overperforming. This is how we get the resources that we need for our sports and our activities. I mean, all of this ties together. And I really would like to see Monroe come together and find a way to voice this beyond just the 5 up here and the administrative team. I really want the community to get involved in this conversation, because it is a big, big conversation if we're not ahead of it.
Your biggest problem is you got a lame duck governor.
Right.
Well, the
So-
biggest problem is we have a bunch of lame people that are trying to
Right.
represent
And they're not
us.
going to do anything because of him. They'll wait till Vic comes in and,
Well, it all boils down to our community and every other community in the state of Ohio needs to hold our representatives accountable, because, what was it, 93 is when it was ruled unconstitutional,
Yeah.
how schools were funded by the Ohio Supreme Court, and it has not been fixed since.
no.
So until that gets fixed and we vote people in to fund schools the way they should be funded, it's never going to get fixed, unfortunately. We got to hold the people accountable to make the laws.
Well, if anybody wants to see a big number, go calculate the amount of money that Monroe has not been awarded due to being capped.
Yep.
It would pay for
That high
the
school
school.
would have been built with our own money. We never would have went to the taxpayers asking for a bond issue. That's what I find incredibly frustrating.
Just
Any
takes,
any construction on the school would not have to go to a bond.
Nope.
Correct.
well, just take $7 million minimum over the last 10 years. It's a minimum of $70 million that we should have received that has been divvied up to other school districts, so there you go.
It's
It's a lot of money.
very frustrating.
We can send them an invoice. Amy, could you send them an invoice for $70
already
million?
tried
can. I don't know
We did
where it
do
will
it
go,
once.
but
Tried that
yes.
once.
Yeah, we tried it.
It didn't work out too well.
They didn't pay it when it was 32 million when we charged, 35 million when I doubt they're going to pay it at 70.
Probably not.
They can always try again.
And speaking of community involvement, we do have a message to the community calling for support. It's pretty much ready to go out. It will be probably within the next day or so.
Excellent.
Adam's over there.
Nodding, thumbs up.
Right now, apparently.
It's
It's
already out
happening
the door.
live.
Good. My phone's buzzing, so I'm sure it just hit my email.
As part of my monthly report, one of the different things is that we finally have our audit report released very late this year, but it was a very good report. We had no comments, not even any verbal comments, so I'm very
Very
happy
good.
with that. And
Very good.
now they're going to be walking through the door in just a few more months, so we get to start all over again.
Good job, Amy, and team.
Thanks. Well, that's a district-wide achievement.
That was the and team part.
Yeah, but it's very, everyone, keeping up with our policies, and doing what we ask them to do. It's not always just for fun. We have a reason, and the auditors are the reason. But, yeah, it's a group effort for sure. Outside of that, we have the bond report, and then we have some donations. We had some pretty good donations this month, some for after prom, and then some for high school
This
graduation.
is my favorite donation of the year.
Yep, fireworks.
Fireworks. I hope this never falls off.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the donation.
Yep.
And then one more item, sorry.
Yep, you're good.
The contract with Strategic Solutions. This is our electronic storage and workflow system that we've been using. And we also recently are adding HR onboarding as part of this module, so. And I have the workers' comp group rating program that we typically participate in, so we will go with Shakely again for that. Now I'm done.
Is all the money where it's supposed to be?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions? All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Yes, guess what I did again?
Oh, no.
Aye.
Oh. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Was it me or?
So I have a motion by Leeds and a second by Mr. Grant.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. When it's mine, I go right into report mode.
Yeah.
That's understandable. You're just locked in.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Griffin?
Aye, motion carried. Thank you, Mrs. Moore. Moving along to Section 5, Superintendent Personnel Consent Agenda. Mr. Buskirk.
I recommend approval of the superintendent HR personnel consent agenda as presented.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. Thank you, Mr. Grant. Mr. Buskirk.
We have a few resignations there, some for people moving into different positions. Then we have some new teachers, again, for the next school year. Some leftover extracurricular contracts, and some stipends for student teachers, wellness coordinator, and that's it. Any questions?
No, that's pretty easy.
All right. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Section 6, Superintendent Other Business Consent Agenda.
It's recommended the approval of the superintendent other business consent agenda.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Whoa.
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Grant. Thank you, Mr. Fulham, for the second. That was like in stereo. That was awesome. All right,
Zip.
Mr. Buskirk.
All right, first is some approval of overnight trips. We have a number of athletic teams doing overnight trips over the summer for different camps, some handbook revisions for student handbooks, and I believe, is that the athletic in there too? Yes. And that's it.
Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Section 7, Superintendent Other Business.
It's recommended the board approve the proposed 25-26 school calendar.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Oh,
Thank you, Mr. Grant. May I get a
Second.
second? Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. Any questions?
We approved it back in February, but after negotiations, we had to add that one day, so we made just a couple little adjustments.
Okay.
All the major holidays are not affected, so.
Okay.
Halloween's good, right?
Sure. I think so. I believe that one did not move.
I talked a lot about Halloween.
I know you
February.
did. We did not move Halloween.
It's a big talking point around these parts.
The things that are important.
Where to go. Isn't there something?
All right. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.2.
Recommended to approve the agreement for educational services with Youth Opportunity Investments, Brooksville Youth Academy.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. Any questions? Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.3.
It's recommended to approve the SWOCA Informational Technology Center proposal for the installation of Wi-Fi access points in the main campus junior high infill gym. It's just, that's pulled out from the project, so that's separate. They'll be going in to put access points in the new classrooms.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Grant.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions? Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.4.
It's recommended to purchase and approve the preschool curriculum as presented by Nancy Stratton.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Fulham. Any questions?
Nope.
All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.5.
It's recommended to approve the Moats Group proposal for the tennis court repairs and resurfacing.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Fulham. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. Any questions?
Glad to see this happening. I think needs some
It's-
work,
yep.
big time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Are you gonna
Ooh.
put pickleball in there too?
No.
It was worth a shot.
You tried. All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.6.
It's recommended the approval of Craftsman Electric for the auditorium cove lighting replacement.
May I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Any questions or comments?
I'm pretty
Gotcha.
excited about this one. I think this is a good, item for to be done in the auditorium to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, I think I shared that our goal is to gradually work on things so the auditorium looks brand new by the time the new high school is open. And so, as we looked at our 5-year facility plan, this is something that I know Amy's been budgeting for, that we're going to continue to work. We did carpet last year, lighting. We're going to continue to work on it.
Good
So it's
hands,
all
too.
nice for Mrs. Pelfrey back there.
No.
Yeah.
They're a good group, Craftsman. So
Craftsman.
you guys are in good hands.
What's the cost on that?
15.9.
15-9.
I know I'm looking forward to this one. This is a good one.
Yep.
It's good.
All right.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.7,
It's recommended the approval of the agreement for sports medicine services with Beacon and Tri-Health.
may I get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. A
Second.
Mr. Leeds? Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Any questions or comments?
I'll just make a comment. Great decision. Beacon,
Good choice.
I'm looking forward to having them on staff.
We, Mr. Silverman and I met, first they found a trainer with 15 years' experience, which is why the contract is a little more than we had originally thought. But I think that's a great thing, that somebody coming in with experience. And we actually, there is a team physician, and so we met the team physician. He's newer to the area, trying to build a practice. He wants to be here, get involved. He has an office in Miamisburg and an office at Liberty, their
Main
10
facility.
minutes away. So I agree. I think it's a great thing for our student athletes.
Any other questions? All right, Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Item 7.8,
It's recommended the board approve the following Neola recommended policy revisions.
may I get a motion?
Oh, so moved, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds.
If you don't stop calling me about reading the Neola documents.
May I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Fulham. Any comments?
Great reading. What time we have the test?
I'm in. Let's go.
Tom's going to take it for all of us.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, right.
All right. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Leeds?
Aye.
Mr. Fulham?
Aye.
Mr. Grant?
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye, motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Buskirk. Moving along to Section 8, comments from the board.
Seeing as I have none.
Mr. Leeds.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Amy for a clean audit and her group. That's great, to be able, with no comments from the auditor, so that's good. And I guess it's about over with, and fat lady getting ready to sing, and the
Absolutely.
year's about done. But it's been a fast year, man, I can't believe this. But a lot of things have been accomplished this year, and staff's done a wonderful job based upon the handicap you have because there's no room. You guys have done a tremendous job. And the jail gym getting converted to 8 classrooms is going to help. But the biggest thing is get that, the architects going on the drawing for the building, and get the bulldozers up here and try to get that driveway done somehow, I guess. But I don't,
We should just start it.
So I said we should build it and stop it about a foot from the road.
Yep, and then just put plywood over top of it. Just put some plywood over
Put
it
a
to
sign
connect
that
it.
says
like
we're
it's
not
not
allowed to
completed.
complete it because ODOT is being difficult.
Yes.
Sorry about your speed bump.
come down fast enough to jump this.
Oh, I think our parents do.
Yeah, right. But no, it's been great. And everybody's done a tremendous job. I think there's been no complaints that I've heard from the public on anything. It's all been positive. So
Thank you.
that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Leeds. Mrs. Hagedorn?
I just want to say congratulations for 18 days remaining for the school year. It's like Mr. Leach just said, it's gone super fast this year. I think every year just goes super fast. The older we get, the faster it goes, it seems.
You're not lying.
Yeah. And congratulations, Amy, and everybody that was involved in the audit. That's, fabulous that took a bit of time, but finally got completed. So congratulations on that. And I'd say congratulations to the seniors that are graduating here, and just finish the year strong. I know testing and finishing classes, you get the senioritis, you don't want to do all the things, but it's important to finish the year the right way. So go to class and do what you need to do and finish strong. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Hagedorn. Mr. Grant?
I'll echo what Tom and Debbie said regarding the audit, so great job to Debbie and her team. I say it every year, graduation is one of my favorite things of being a board member, seeing everyone that's a senior moving on and taking their next step into the next chapter of their life is one of the pleasures of being on the board, so I'm looking forward to that. And I really enjoyed the student council, so thank you for having them for the student achievement. That was a great presentation, pretty animated. I liked it, so I like it. So other than that, the school year is coming to an end, and like you said, everyone said when you get older, time flies, and they're not lying, so.
You ain't seen nothing yet. That's all I'll let you know.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. All right, Mr. Fulham, what do you have?
I don't know. Kevin and Becky, thank you guys. We got to work together on a few things over the years, and you know, as a team, very small team of few doing so many great big things, it's awesome that we have that, and looking forward to the transition to the new folks that are going to be taking over, and anybody who would love to get involved. Our PTOs are always welcoming helping hands. This stuff does not go without hard work, and the more hands we can get involved, obviously, the better it is for our kids. So thank you guys for being two very strong hands over the years. High five to our 5th grader Kimber Maynard and 6th grader Ella Evans, who earned spots to represent Ohio at the USA Gymnastics Region 5 competition. Region 5 includes gymnasts from Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. Based on their performance at the Ohio State Championships, Kimber and Ella were among the top 8 gymnasts selected at their respective levels to represent the state this past weekend. Kimber scored 2nd in floor and 6th overall in her division, where Ella scored 1st in vault, beam, and floor, and 4th in bars, giving her a 1st place overall finish in her division, as well as overall level 6, which featured 451 gymnasts. High five to Priscilla Martinez, who recently broke a school record in the girls' 400-meter dash that stood for more than 22 years, or more than 20 years, 22 years, I think, with a time of 1 minute, 1 second, 1.63 seconds. Those 0.63 really matter. And Priscilla owns this record as just a freshman in her 1st place finish at the Northwest Invitational.
She broke it again.
She broke it again. Okay, well, that
A little faster.
that didn't get to me quick enough. She's too fast.
I think it was last Thursday.
Oh, okay. Well, go Priscilla. Keep running fast. And high five to this year's prom king and queen, Kemper-Aetha and Kendall Bowen, as well as our prince and princess, Romeo Adam and Addie Bivak. Looked like prom went well, other than a little bit of rain, but doesn't stop the fun, and love seeing the pictures and all the kids dolled up and have a good night.
We have a tremendous student body, and they did a great job. And I know for Mr. Prohaska, myself, everybody, it's a night of, it's worry, just because, you know, kids could be kids and make bad decisions, but they've been great, and it was very successful, uneventful. As Tom said, my phone didn't ring Saturday morning, so that's a good day.
The only feedback I got from a few kids is we got to work on the music selection, so we're gonna have to.
My daughter said the DJ was outstanding compared to homecoming.
Oh, well, so we're gonna have to work on that, I guess.
As long as there was some Taylor Swift that was played, I'm sure mine.
That's all I got.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fulham. Oh, I don't know. There's not much else to say. Just thank you to everyone who helped organize and oversee prom. I know my daughter had a really good time. Keep up the great work. The softball team, if you guys haven't heard, is having a tremendous season. They're actually at Cincinnati Country Day. I'm sure the game's over by now, but I believe they've only lost one game.
Yep.
I have to double check, but I believe it's only one. JV's been doing well also, so we have some years ahead of us of some
They're very
promising
young. aren't they?
softball.
Aren't they very young?
Oh, yeah,
only
it's
two
like
seniors.
mostly freshmen, so should be exciting. And then just with the, I'm gonna call it the jail gym, it's really pretty great to see the progress being made and just that opportunity for more classroom space to be available for our students. And I'm pretty excited just because we've been using like small little things here and there for classroom space, and now to have like 8 real classrooms coming online, that's gonna be, I'm sure the teachers will be very appreciative as well. But aside from that, it's very nice outside, so let's get the heck out of here, everybody. So with that,
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
oh,
Happy
thanks,
birthday.
you guys.
Did you bring cupcakes for everyone?
I should have.
You should
But we
have.
have a strict no snacks for birthday policy. I don't want to.
Is that in Neola?
With that, I will take a,
So moved.
at 7:06. Thank you, Mr. Grant. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Leeds, thank you. Mrs. Moore, please call the roll.
Mr. Grant.
Aye.
Mr. Leeds.
Aye.
Mrs. Hagedorn. Mrs. Hagedorn.
Aye.
Mr. Fulham.
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter.
Aye. Motion carried. Have a good night.
Thank you, everyone.
You did
That
change
was
that
with
lead.
authority.
Good meeting.